Hello, welcome back. I'm Jeff Byers, and this is part 4 of our sci-fi crate. Okay, we got to finish up the handles. Let's go ahead and do that. Go ahead and click on a cube. Now, what I'm going to do is that every time I click on that, I've got the old information in there, so I'm going to have to go into polygon primitives into the cube, and we're just going to have to get all these back to normal. So I could have easily just done reset settings and create. There we go. And let's go ahead and move that up. Alright, so I'm just going to go into vertex mode and go ahead and squish this down a little bit. Selection mode, and we'll squish this down a little bit like that. So we want to give it a little bit more width on the back, so let's go ahead and go to vertex mode and widen that part out a little bit like that. So it looks kind of like that, and I can always go in here and just kind of widen that out a little bit. There we go. That looks pretty good. I like that. Let's make the whole thing a little bit smaller. And let's get it placed against the crate. Let's go ahead and move that in. Alright, that looks good. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and move that over. And we need I think that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and take these two guys here and move those down. And we've got our curve there. I'm going to go ahead and put that into a layer, so I'm going to go over to the layers and click on that, and that will be, double click on that, name layer 2, and just put that, just type in curve and turn that off. And then I'm going to go ahead and create another cylinder, bring that up and over, and I'm just going to go ahead and type in 90 and rotate X. There we go. And of course scale that down. You don't want to invert it. You saw what I just did. It's by accident. So if I go down and let's go back and Control Z that. And you have to be careful when you're actually scaling something that you don't invert it. What I mean is that I went down and then I went back up again. That's inverting. That's really bad. So you want to go down, but don't go too fast. And you don't want to invert it. It inverts everything, meaning that we have reverse normals and all that stuff and cause you problems later. Let's go to the top view and let's get that situated. We want it to kind of follow the angle. We want this to be kind of in the middle, okay? And you can see that I'm going to go ahead and angle, just kind of angle that a little bit and move that over like that. And I'm actually just going to go into vertex and select these vertices and move these in like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. And it's not fitting there in the same area. I keep hitting I hate the Windows button. About ready to deactivate that thing. And we have to make this a little bit thicker. I'm going to go ahead and center pivot and then scale that out a little bit like that. Okay, that looks good. And move that out a little bit so that looks like it's coming out. There we go. That looks good. Kind of make that a little bit chunky looking here. That looks good. Alright, cool. Move that forward a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. I like that. Move that down. Alright, so let's go ahead and move this over a little bit more. Okay. And let's go ahead and take these two and click on this, Control D, and move it over. Alright, so we can already see that we've got a problem here because this is way shorter than this one over here. So what we can do is take this, move it over, and let's get it kind of close to what we have on the other side. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Alright, let's move that over a little bit more, move this over a little bit more, and then we want to move this up. Actually, I think that handle's a little bit too long on this side. Let's go to vertex mode, move that back down again and get these about even. And let's move that whole handle up. I'm just going to marquee select everything, hold the control key down and deselect that one, and move this up into that. There we go. Let's kind of take a look at what we have so far. That looks pretty good. Alright. Now, to me, that's sitting too far out. So, from the side view, let's go ahead and select all of this. And let's move this into where we think that would be good. Should be laying right flat on that. And then what I'll do is I'll select these two guys, right click over, go to vertex mode, and marquee select those vertices. Okay. Do the same thing with this guy here. There we go. Okay. Great. I think we have it. That looks pretty good. Okay, we're going to go into and see if we want to add more detail to anywhere. If we want to do any caps here, we can go ahead and see what we can do with those. So I'm going to go into selection mode and hold the shift key down and the right mouse button, go to insert edge loop tool. And we're going to go ahead and add an insert an edge loop right about here. And we'll do one right about here. Kind of make those about as even as we can. And that's a little bit too far, so I'm going to go back into selection mode. Go ahead and go to edge mode and click on that. I'm going to click off and double click on and hit the Q key and double click on that. And I want to slide that over. Remember, when we slide things, we have to hold the shift and the right mouse button, and we can go into slide edge tool, hold down the middle mouse button and slide it. What we're trying to do is get it to be about the same distance between here, this corner, this edge and this edge, and this edge and this edge. So that looks pretty good. And so I want to do that to the rest of the objects. So since I got that one, now I'm going to go in here and go into selection mode and go back into edge loop, and let's do an edge loop right here. That looks pretty good. Okay, so this really wasn't in the original plan, but I'm going to go ahead and add this anyway. We're going to do kind of a corner piece. So I'm going to go to face mode and just select these faces here. The top, okay, and nothing, and this on the bottom. Okay. Right, and then the, oops, I guess I forgot to hold down the shift key. So let's get these, and let's get these down here. Okay, so it's really important that we don't select anything else. Okay, And what we want to do is I'm going to hit the 4 key and just make sure nothing else is selected by accident. Okay. And let's go back to 5 key, and now we're going to go into Control E. Right, so this is really cool. I can do all 4 of these at one time, and I'm going to pull on the blue arrow, not the scale. Blue arrow. And we're going to go about the same thickness as we have for this part right here, so it'll match up real nicely. Alright, so that's what we're looking for, and that looks pretty good actually. And if we go to the side view, you can kind of see where we're at. We could go a little bit more to match it. So I'm going to go in here and just scale that up just a little bit more, and that looks really good. Okay, so I'm going to close that. Alright, great. So there's our corner pieces. Pretty cool. And so now it's really turning out to be pretty decent. SciFi case. Alright. Okay, let's go ahead and turn off wireframe on shaded. You can see better how it's looking. Alright. Okay, those details look pretty good so far. Go back with wireframe on shaded, and you can see that those added edges go all the way through, and that's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. Is there anything you wanted to add on the top? The whole idea is I just wanted to get the broad strokes in. I know this still looks and seems kind of low, you know, like there's not much on it, but the whole idea is to take this and let's get this mirrored over. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to select let's select this piece here, and let's go into object mode up here. You can see that, and we're going to go ahead and hit the Q key just to kind of get it back to where we had it. Do we need to have anything in the back? Okay, so if we have hinges back here, probably a good idea to have a hinge back here. And we can just do cylinders back here if we want to do a hinge. Let's go ahead and scale that down, and we'll do a couple hinges here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and rotate that over. We'll do -90 on that. And I can move that up and over. Alright. Get that right in there. Okay, so that's going to be the inside rod. We got 2 rods. Let's get that a little bit smaller, and then I'm going to create and duplicate that and make that a little bit bigger and scale it down a little bit. There we go. And this is going to encompass the whole entire thing. I'm going to push that in. So it's going to be kind of put in there like that, and we'll push that in. So it's about half of it sticking out. That'll work out really nice. Let's go ahead and make that just a little bit smaller and move it down just a little bit. Okay, that looks good. Right. And then we'll move that in. Okay, and just get that squared up and scale that just a little bit more like that. Okay, hit the Q key, and we're going to duplicate that over. That, duplicate that over like that. There we go. So there's our hinge. We'll go ahead and get that moved over. We're at the edge here. Go. And we'll do, there's a nice hinge there, and we'll do another one in the middle. Alright, so that is it. So let's go ahead and we'll go to part 5 next video.